Gold and Black live outside. This is the first for the 6 or 7 year history of this show. As the bus drives by, that's because we are outside and it's live. We're outside the John Wooden statue, Vincent Edwards, Ryan Newbert with me, and forever John Wooden. And do you ever get intimidated, Vince, on the fact that you're behind the pyramid of success that tells you how you're supposed to live your life every day, or do you do that every day that way?
It's an intimidating factor to have out here, but no, John Wooden's been a great ambassador here for Purdue and everything he's done here and done his success in his career. So he shows us how to live the right way and how to go about our days the right way. So it's just good to have the statue and have that reminder for you.
I think they did a good job with the statue, though.
Yeah, it looks really good. We walked out here, we saw it one day, we saw him putting it up, and then once we seen it finalized, I think it looks really good.
Yeah.
I think it's funny the wooden statue is made out of concrete.
Only you would think that. So that's
all right. Now that I've ruined the show, let's move on.
That's all right. Fire away.
Just obviously, you guys. People think very highly of you guys this year. When you look at the preseason expectations, obviously getting 26 wins last year, things didn't end the way you wanted it to. But I know you guys are very enthusiastic about your chances this year. Just the start of practice, what are sort of your expectations? It was a very convoluted question, but I think you know what I'm getting at.
Of course, our expectations are high. Like you said, 26 win season. So, guys, we think we can win the Big Ten, and we think we have a team, that's capable of doing just about anything. We're not going to be the most talented team, on paper, and we're not going to look the greatest against, other powerhouses. But that's one thing we can do as a team is we're going to work hard and we're going to try to outwork our opponents. That's the Boiler way, and it's always been the Purdue Boilermaker way. So we're going to try to do that and outwork them and just continue to play hard.
You talk about maybe not having as much talent as the people. You've got 3 guys in your front court who are going to be, have a chance to play professional basketball one day. That's a good starting point.
Definitely. We just let the media handle that, and we just try to play our roles, honestly. So it's good to have someone like Caleb and Isaac to have, on your side, and with that size and what they do, a traditional 4 with a really big 5, one of the biggest guys in the country. So and then just along with the rest of the supporting cast that we have with having our whole junior class and having shooters and drivers and adding Carson, it's going to be a lot of fun with this group, and just to mix and match and put different lineups out there and see what we can get out of them.
What did you learn? You obviously had 2 great summer experiences. One, a trip to Spain. The other, earlier in the summer, with workouts with the NBA teams. What did that change, or what did you learn from that experiences, I should say?
It just shows me more maturity to it than anything, and you just have to be ready for it all. It's just like a business. It's a job, and it's all business at the end of the day. And going to Spain with the team and being on that trip and getting to learn more about each other, it's almost like a jump start for you guys. For us for the season, it was a great experience, great sightseeing, really really good team bonding. We just had a great time out there, and I could tell guys really enjoyed it. We really enjoyed each other. We learned a lot about each other's game, and I think that's important for the schedule and the season that we're about to have coming up.
What was your best in Spain food experience, and then maybe off the court experience? What's your main takeaway from a culinary standpoint from Spain?
I've been to Spain a few times in my life. So we went to a place, Spain. It was in Barcelona. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but it was a really good place. It was like a pizza place. You can get like steaks and everything like that. So we had a really good time there. I believe it was me, Biggie, and Carson and Shaquille. We went and ate there one day. So that was probably my favorite place to eat there.
You had a lot of time, at least some free time to do some stuff, to experience the proverbial sights. I mean, that had to be a great part of that trip.
Definitely. We went to Valencia. We got to be on the beach, and I think that was the biggest one because that was the 2 days we had off. So for us to stay in a hotel and be right behind the beach and just have a good time with that, and guys, and even getting the coaches to get a little bit loose and just see them finally smiling, having fun, and not always intense as they are when coaching on the court. So to see that they actually are human and have feelings, and just be out with the guys and be out with the coaches and their families and John Purdue Club members who travel, which we can't thank enough of what they do for us. So it was just a really great time.
Yeah.
Based on what you know about your team from what you have coming back, based on what you saw in Spain, based on what you've seen in practice so far, how can this team be better than it was last year?
We can be better because we have more. I feel like we have more offensively, and when I say that, I just feel like guys are understanding how to do the role, how to score the ball better. Guys put a lot of time in their games and individual. Ryan Klein is definitely one of those people I noticed that he's trying to be more than just a shooter. He's trying to build a little bit off the bounce, and so is Dakota. And PJ has really added a lot to his game in the pick and roll. And Carson just comes in. He has a natural act of scoring for the ball and spikes. So our perimeter is really good at ball screens and that motion. So I feel like that'll be good for us offensively. And then as far as our wing guys, adding Basil back, who's a really good slasher, and just having Caleb and Isaac and Jaquil, who's a really high energy guy. So I feel like this group will really get up and down more than it has in the past 2 or 3 years.
One thing that seems relevant to me is that the matchup game went both ways on you last year. You could take advantage of them, but there were also some opponents could take care of. Are there going to be situations this year where you can play big, but you can also play the matchup game because sliding Biggie to the 5, sliding you to the 4, you can play that matchup game a little bit better than maybe you could last year?
Yeah, I mean, basketball's always going to be a matchup game, and it's always going to be, you're always going to try to find some mismatch. Some teams you're going to match up with better than others, and some teams you're not going to have that great of a matchup. So it just depends on, the team that you play, the personnel. We know Biggie has trouble guarding stretch forward, so he's worked on that. He's done a good job. He did a better job towards at the end of the year. So, I mean, honestly, just like I said, just depending on who we play and their personnel and our personnel. So it's always going to be a matchup problem somewhere on the court, I feel like.
You had the chance to, you've had moved on past the difficulties, but in terms of losing that last game the way you did as your freshman and sophomore years, what's that takeaway now to try to turn that into positive energy? Because it's something that you're going to have to overcome when you get to the 2017 NCAA tournament. But what have you learned? What has it taught you, those two experiences, and not turning out exactly the way you wanted?
It's taught me that anything can happen, and just finish out the game, finish out the tournament. Finish out what you got to do as a team. Those, like you said, freshman, sophomore, the way we lost the tournaments in both of those, it would never sit right with me. Regardless of what we do this year, and regardless of what I'll do in my future, like those two games they'll always be there. So we're just using that as positives because we know what it takes to get there, but now we really know what it takes to get past that. And I feel like we got the right group of guys who's going to do the right things at the right time. So it's all about making that extra play and just being better. It's just one play at the beginning of the game can really change the rest and affect the rest of the game. So individually, as myself, I'm just try to keep influencing that as the season go on, and just try to lead in that type of way, and just telling guys, like, let's just keep playing to the buzzer sound. Once that buzzer sounds, we move past that first round, then we can be happy. But until then, we just got to keep focused and keep going.
Is it a fine line though, like from a motivation standpoint, to not to dwell on it too much? I mean, how do you turn it into positive energy? I mean, how do you look at that?
I mean, of course you're gonna watch film on it, and it's gonna come back, and you're just gonna be like, I should have did this, I should have did that. I watched film on it with Coach O the other day, and it was just, you dwell on it a lot, but it's in the past. You can't do nothing about something that's already been written and it's already happened. So we just gotta prepare ourselves and learn from it. And with that being said, we said that about Cincinnati, but I mean, we can't. Our class, we talked about, wanting to be a good class coming in our freshman year and wanting to help turn Purdue back around, So we want to be mentioned, with those elite classes that came through here. We can't have 2 straight years out of the tournament. This year has to be something different.
Is there something you see in this team intangibly or from a preparation standpoint that leads you to believe that you're going to get through those situations this year?
I just think it just comes with that maturity and being older. We got our junior class, of course, and adding, Spike Aubrey, who's been to a Final Four as a freshman and has been on to some really good teams there at Michigan. And just having that experience, I feel like the experience is something that you need when you're in the tournament. When you're a young team, sometimes you can get lucky with the talent that you have and some experienced guys. So I feel like with all the experience we have this year, that should really help with our preparation and our focuses on our games.
So how should success be defined this year for Purdue?
Just win. Just define it as winning is not being satisfied. Of course we want it to be a great season this year. We want to win every single game that we can, but there's going to be some rocky roads, some bumpy roads, and there's going to be some hard times. But we can't let that define who we are as a team, or let that stop us from reaching any of our goals. Of course you can't lose a maximum amount of games to outright win the Big Ten or win the Big Ten championship or make a Final Four run for the tournament. So we just want to hang our head on winning and doing everything and knowing that we put everything out there on the floor to win.
Yeah, you had the chance, and I've seen the poster that I know Chris Foreman and Paul Sadler and Charles Jiske and all that put that together with your driving basket with the state of Purdue, and that's caused some attention among the state of Indiana people. What have people said to you about that? I love the image and I like what it says.
Honestly, I haven't gotten too much about it from fans besides the fact that they thought it was a really cool poster. But of course, when you're in Indiana school, you got the Crossroad Classic that we play in every year. It's always bragging rights, and it's always who owns the state. So we've 0-5, so in that, and we gotta change that. So that's another thing that's been on our mind as well. So we got little goals set out throughout the year that that we want to accomplish. And each goal is just gonna be one step at a time. Just gotta go one step at a time, one goal at a time, and try to achieve all of our goals.
Yep. Yourself personally, where does improvement lie this year?
Improvement lies on me with more confidence and better leadership. I feel I've got a tendency in the past to have disappeared a little bit in some games, and just kind of wasn't as aggressive and just a little content, with having like Rayfield and AJ and those guys on the defensive end, and AJ specifically offensively, and having Isaac and Biggie. That's one thing individually. Like I just have to be aggressive, but patiently aggressive, and just being smart and just not fading away. Be impactful in the game at all aspects and any time on the game.
You were really aggressive at the end of the year. I think it kind of showed up. What was the turning point where you went from sort of blending in a little bit? I know it maybe took some time to figure out your niche around Biggie and AJ and Isaac and all that, but what was kind of the turning point for you from that phase of your season to being as aggressive as you were at the end?
I think it was just like more of a confident thing. Like I said, I don't really think it was just a turning point. It was just more of just figuring it out. Obviously with having either Biggie and Isaac in at the same time, or at the time to be Biggie and AJ, it's going to be really crowded on the inside, because those guys draw a lot of attention with their size and what they can do inside and out. So even with having Biggie and Isaac this year, it's going to be the same way. So you just got to know, like when those two are in, the lane's going to be really crowded. You just got to be really smart. Take the lanes when they're there, when they're opened up. You just got to be able to read it and react to them right away. But of course, when we slide Biggie to the 5, myself at the 4, it opens things up even more, because we can space out a lot more. So it's just, like I said, it's just figuring it out and just having that confidence in myself.
Matt said a couple weeks ago that he wants you're going to get a lot of matchups defensively. They're going to be really important for your guys' success, and he wants you to kind of move into that role of being maybe that primary guy on the wing. Where do you feel like you are in terms of your ability to be that guy defensively?
I feel like I'm working and I'm getting there. It's been a work in progress for me, especially if going from my freshman year as playing the 4 and then switching out, then going, adding Biggie, so that allowed me to, move to the 3. So I think as far as there, as I'm getting there and I'm getting better, and I'm watching film and doing all the little things and just trying to get the tendencies down. That's one thing I can take away from Rayfield and what he did in his time here, is developing. That's a defensive player of the year that he did develop himself into. He got in, put the time in. He watched a lot of film, watched guys, and he just worked at it. So I'm gonna try to do the same. Work at it. Look at film and just try to just be all around. You can't just be one-sided. You have to be able to do both. So I can't just be offense and no defense. So I'm just taking pride on that and just trying to pick up where he left off.
A lot of people talk about, obviously, your namesake, Carson Edwards, coming in, what he brings to the table. It's offense and other things. But who else? Who's somebody that maybe is not being talked about that has surprised you a little bit from the early season workouts and all the stuff throughout the summer? Is there anybody else that we ought to be watching that we may not be talking about?
Of course, no one's talking about, like I said, Jaquil Taylor. He's not the most offensively skilled. No, he's not going to be the most athletic, but he's athletic, he's long, and he runs the floor hard, and he brings us a lot of energy, and that's something that we're going to need. And his energy off the bench is going to be huge for us. He was unbelievable in Spain. He's been unbelievable in practice. He's won all of our competitive drills. Like, he's leading all of that. So I think that's one person. Of course, he's redshirted, so that's one person that a lot of people aren't looking for, coming up in this year. And then, like I said, I think Ryan Klein has done a better job of helping developing his game as far as being more than a shooter. So he's been trying to do more in between. And so has Dakota. Dakota's developed a lot of posts. So I mean, it's a lot of guys that you can go and be like, we're going to see something different from them this year. So I'm excited and ready to get it going with the guys.
All right, now you are one of those guys that seems even keel and pretty cool all the time. Who's the guy that makes you laugh on this basketball team every time you're around him? Is there somebody that you sit there and say he's going to break up the room, or is it a manager? Is it a coach? Is it something that does that for you guys? It keeps it loose.
Carson and Basil are definitely your go-tos. They have two very similar personalities. They're really loose, really outgoing, really outspoken. You know, guys just want to be liked, just want to have fun, want to be comedians. And Caleb's definitely someone who can sneak up on you and be a funny guy at times. I mean, we have guys who have their moments in the locker room. Like, everybody can be funny, but if you're always looking for someone to be that icebreaker that you always want, it's definitely going to be Carson or Basil.
We asked you before about, you guys maybe being better collectively offensively, but defensively, obviously, you're going to be in a transition phase. Two very significant pieces you lost. How do you find that new identity, and where are you in the process?
We're trying something new right now, and it's all about working on it, see how it goes in practice, and then see how it goes. You know, we got a scrimmage coming up with West Virginia. That'll be interesting to see how we turn out there. So it's always a working process, and we're going to figure out our identity sooner or later. So with missing those two missing pieces in defense transition, I mean, you can always talk and you can always play hard. You might make a mistake, but if you make a mistake going hard, and you might be able to make up for your first mistake and not make the second one. So we're going to figure out who we are defensively as a defensive team, but we're going to get it done.
There are less shots to block when you make less mistakes, right?
Right.
Wink.
You haven't. I mean, you guys in your basketball time, you've been able to travel all over a lot of different places in the world. But you're going to Cancun this year, or to Riviera Maya. You got New York. Have you been to Cancun or been to Mexico before?
I've never been to Mexico. I've traveled a lot of places with my father because he played professional year Penn, but I've never been to Mexico, so it'll be a first time for me.
Yeah, you'll like that, I think, and have some good competition down there. Madison Square Garden, you've been there before?
No, that'd be my first time ever going to New York too. So like I said, I've been a lot of places in the world, but some places like New York and Mexico.
You've never been to New York at all?
Never been to New York.
Oh, you'll like that. So that'd be cool.
This travel schedule they have you guys on is crazy.
Yeah,
isn't it? I mean, this is.
I mean, it's a big time schedule. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it's huge. It's a schedule that you want. This is a schedule that can help put Purdue back to to that top, to that mountain. So I mean, we just got to go out and we got to play, we got to perform, and we got to produce.
Right. Well, I mean, you just went to Spain. You're doing all this stuff in season this year, and then you're going to what? Is it China next year for the World University?
Taipei, yeah.
Yeah, Taipei, right.
That's just crazy.
Yeah.
Too.
So I mean,
I hope you get your frequent flyer miles.
yeah. So the schedule is unbelievable, and it's big time. Our coaches did a good job of putting that together, and they're doing a great job of preparing us now.
A lot of folks looking at it, again, having such a big, and I know they're all big, but having a big focal point game early in the year with Villanova, a little bit. We've had some of those, and Purdue's had those over the years, but how does that set things up a little bit differently from a scheduling standpoint, having such a big game in Mackey Arena on the 14th of November?
Yeah, it's on the 14th. It's going to be on a Monday, so just having that game is going to be huge because you're going to find out right away who you are. And Villanova, of course, they're national defending champs. They return everybody but two people. Those two people are a big part of the team, but they also got some young guys that can fill in that void. So they're going to be a tough team, and I know our fans can't wait to have them in here and really see what this team's going to be about. It's going to test us, and we're going to find out our identity early, and it's going to help us later in the season. So to be able to have them in here and give us a really good test and get in front of our crowd and be able to feed out the energy is going to be a really big game. It's going to be a lot of fun. We can't wait.
Your favorite Mackey moment to date? You've had some, obviously last year Michigan State at the end of that, a time when you said, boy, this is a place where I'm glad I picked Purdue, and this environment's what it's all about. Do you have one yet, or you still think that's still to come?
It's still to come. There's been so many moments that I've had here it's been unbelievable. Michigan State, of course, overtime win was huge. Maryland here was huge. Having Dickie V announcing and having a legend like that in the game being here, that was huge. I said my freshman year against IU here was huge. So it's a lot of memories I have. I don't have one set solid memory here. So I think that's what Mackey's done a good job of, and our fans have done a good job. They help you create more and more memories. Every time you think you got one, it's another one being created. So I don't have a set stone memory right now.
Time for one more question.
This is a schedule that will be tough in the moment, but should make you better when it matters most, right?
Definitely. I mean, it can like I said, we can have some bumpy starts, a rocky roll. You know, it might not start off the hottest, but we got a lot of confidence in ourselves, and we're very confident that we can play with anybody as long as we play hard and we take care of the ball and we do what we're supposed to do as a team. So I don't think that's going to be that big of a problem for us as long as we can control what we can control as far as turnovers and just trying to out-rebound everybody and just playing hard.
We know one thing about Vince Edwards. He can keep his concentration through buses, mopeds, everything else that's driving by here. Makes a lot of sense, but we appreciate so much you taking the time. We're really looking forward to watching you this season. We're going to take a short break, come back in 2 minutes, and bring in our B guest today. Actually, Coach Matt Painter will join us. I wouldn't say that to him unless he was sitting right here, but we'll look forward to having him on as well. And then follow up in our third segment with Stacey Clarity and Kyle Charters talking some Purdue football down the stretch. So stay tuned. We'll be back in 2 minutes on Gold and Black Live.